Hello, everybody. My name is Nico, and you are watching Nerdverse Odyssey Episode 5. We have finally made it after 2 weeks of not working, and if you might have noticed, we are down a man. Isn't that right, Rico?
Yes, our sweet regards go to that man, the myth, the legend, Hunter.
He unfortunately died due to a asshole bleaching incident. Um, he will he will be missed at least for another 2 weeks because apparently he's going to Daytona or some shit next week. So it'll just be a solo event,
Oh,
possibly. My son is sick right now, so we might not be going to. We might not be going 3 hours away to a thing next weekend for my son and I's birthday, but we'll see. So we might have another pause. So what should have been a weekly podcast is now becoming a bi-weekly shit show, if you will.
note to self and everybody else. This is not on me.
Yeah, no, Rico
This
has
is the
been
two
fantastic.
brothers.
He has been a trooper, even though his room is smoking. I think there are sacrifices going on to acquire more pops. That is my assumption. Either that or he's holding a. I'm not super religious, but it looks like you might be trying to pray to some eldritch god for them.
No, what I'm doing is burning incense to make sure they don't die because unfortunately, while I love Korean food, and despite us talking before we started recording, I meant to say I've been trying to say the incense is for the kimchi.
Ah,
Kimchi
gotcha.
tastes good, but there is a smell that lingers. Hey, anybody who listens that is Korean, I'm not making fun of your food. I'm just saying it is delicious, but kimchi does have a certain smell, so it kind of
It does.
lingers sometimes.
As the foremost expert in this room on the Korean people, since I married one, I will say
Mhm.
there is a smell to kimchi. However, I absolutely love that smell, so I don't mind.
Mm.
I once told my wife she needs to just bathe in kimchi because that smell is hot.
Nah, dude.
But then again, I
That's
got my nose is all jacked up, so that could be why. So
well,
how's your
maybe
week
should
been,
be.
man? Well, 2 weeks, I guess.
My 2 weeks have been kind of up and down. It was weird. You guys were talking about being sick, and then my youngest, Sebastian, he got a stomach bug. And
Ah.
so that was kind of interesting because it started off with him going to his mother
Mm-hmm.
and saying that he was not feeling too good, had a headache. We gave him medicine. He told him, hey, drink water. And literally, I got up. We were all sitting in the living room. I got up to go to the bathroom and pretty much lock up for the night. And next, this he just was standing there, and you know, my wife goes, "Hey, something's wrong with him." Next, he just started going.
Yeah,
It wasn't
projectile.
like it wasn't necessarily projectile like the poltergeist,
So
but
he
it
wasn't
was
like
just
Linda
like
Blair. Got it.
yeah, it was just like somebody turned on a faucet and it was just coming out. And I mean, anybody who gets sick from it, I don't know. But it was just a lot, and I'm just sitting there in the disbelief. We didn't have a trash can. I'm all like here, try to do it here or whatever, and I'm also in amazement because I'm like, where's all this food and other stuff is coming out? Like it doesn't make no sense.
He was storing it for winter.
I guess it was just a lot, and so it was trying to comfort him.
Mm-hmm.
Tell my wife, hey, take care of him. I'll clean this stuff up. Don't worry about it. And then um, my luck, then I got well actually went. I think I got sick, and then after that, it just kind of cascaded. So where, lucky for me, it was only like 2 days. Just one day to mainly bathroom visits, not that many, but some, and then just aching pain. So
Fair.
yeah, so I hung in there, and then pretty much spent the rest of the time working and trying to actually fell into a Mortal Kombat hole. But we can discuss that a little bit later
All right. All
on
right.
that part.
Any movies, games, or anything, or just the huge?
Oh no, I did a. Oh, see, this is why. Um, I actually went into I went on a deep in a sense a deep hole pause. But yeah, so I finished actually I gotta finish Reacher
I
on the
just
last
finished it today. It
episode.
was really good. I put it on the docket, but I'll just say right now it ends really well.
I hope. Because me and Hunter we talked about it briefly the last week since we were just talking and stuff like that. Um I love season one. Season two, I may have to rewatch it again, but I wasn't getting the warms and fuzzies as I was getting with
Mm,
season one.
the pacing was a
Um,
lot quicker this time around. It felt like it felt more like if we were to do this in the it felt more like a spy thriller and less like a campy backwoods vigilante movie, if that makes sense.
yeah, because Hunter said that too. Though it wasn't necessarily campy as the first one. I felt that season two, it didn't feel like it had the intensity as season one.
That's fair. I would say it
Like,
was kind of like if you were to go off Marvel movies, it felt more like the first Reacher season would be similar to like the first Captain America movie, where it was campy, but it still had like some serious moments. Whereas the
mhm,
second one, or where like season two, is kind of more like Civil War, where it was a lot more like almost like more action driven and like spy like chase kind of deal
gotcha.
in a sense. Mind you, it has nothing to do with those movies. I'm just saying, like, pacing wise and like the tone is kind of what sets it for me. Is kind of where that's coming
Uh,
from for me.
I just felt like it was. Well, one, here's my first complaint. Why did they have to kill all the Hispanic characters? I don't. I feel like this was wrong. I noticed that. Maybe that's something that's trivial, but still, like none of the Hispanic guys survived. I'm like, I don't like this at all. The second thing was is just I don't know. It just there wasn't too much of a mystery with who they were going after. Like automatically, you knew it was what's his name, Robert Patrick's character,
Yeah.
that he's a bad guy, and then it wasn't really. I felt like there was no ties with the other characters. Like in the season one, it's Reacher and his brother.
Mm.
Some odd reason he hears the song, gives him the motivation to happen to go in roughly the same time frame to visit a town that his brother was investigating, and then you have the ties that go with it. With this one, is more or less of, hey, these are the guys I serve with.
Why are they all dying?
Why are they all dying? But then again, it part of it was kind of weird because I'm thinking to myself the way they made it seem about the special investigations, um, that they've been together for almost like 6 to 10 years, kind of thing, and this was only like a 2-year operation, which is
Yeah,
kind of impressive with the
exactly.
cases they did. But if anybody's listening, anybody who's serving in the military, your first year being with somebody, even the first 2 years, unless especially coming out of basic AIT, you're still getting to know everybody,
Mm.
what's going on. I mean, yes, they have some experiences, some of it kind of questionable, but you really don't get into the thick of it until either you've been spending at a time somewhere like a duty station for 3 years, or even possibly, which I think is a little bit faster if it's more or less of a deployment where you have
Mm.
no choice. You're in somebody, like if we were deployed, I'm in your face, you're in my face, pretty much the whole day. Like we're just
Yeah.
almost like a married
Well,
couple, depending
that's
on what
almost
we're
what it kind
doing.
of felt like for them, though. Is it was more like it was almost like a special deployment, but it was just like a small little tight knit group. I don't know.
Yeah,
I wasn't a CID. I know you weren't, so
no,
maybe they played different.
yeah, that,
I
that
was
is
just a
true.
lowly old box kicker.
Me, I was just a Maytag man, as they called me. Like,
Hey, you had
I
an
hate you
important
that.
job. You had to make sure those barracks were nice and cool and
I
didn't
guess,
smell
yeah.
like funky sex.
Which to this day always makes me laugh because somebody, from back then would be like, "Yeah, man, you're the Maytag man." I was like, "Dude, I did not once touch a washer and a dryer unit, even on deployment, at all. Like you saw him one time at AIT, it was the biggest crap I ever seen, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll be working on that. Didn't see it at all. Like,
Yeah, that sounds accurate. Sign
but
up for one
hopefully,
thing, end up not doing that one thing.
yeah, that's. I mean, if anybody's listening doing military, and I'm not dogging, not necessarily dogging the army, but at least for me, and I can't, you can give your experience, but that's the one thing about AIT going to your actual training school is like for us, you'll see 20 pieces of equipment, and they're
Mm-hmm.
like, "Hey, you'll be working on all this stuff from decon, certain like I think it was like a shelter, inflatable shelter tent for decon stuff, alarm systems, reverse osmosis, your whirlpools for water purification, all that stuff." I only been to two places that we actually worked on a piece of equipment. Everything else, nah, you didn't see. And artillery. Hey, if anybody's listening, nothing against you guys. You guys don't care nothing except for if it's a rocket and if you can fire a rocket. That's it. I want to push a button. That's all they want to do.
Can I make it blowed up?
Yeah, pretty much. It's B-52. You lost my
Yeah.
mission. What do you mean I got no more rockets? I don't got no. They're like a kid with wants fireworks that they're out of
Yep.
fireworks, and you're trying to tell them like, "Hey, that's it. You shut up all the bottle rockets."
Yeah,
What do you
but
mean?
no,
I don't
there's
get no
more.
more.
Go get them.
That- Exactly. Can you go? Can you go buy some? Like it's 11 o'clock. I can't buy no more. Can we borrow some?
Come on, Timmy. Let's let the enemy combatants have a little bit of a break before we start blowing their asses up again.
Dude, trust me, I have learned at least combat because artillery is considered combat arms.
Yeah.
Uh, I've learned a lot of things being in the unit compared to being in a quartermaster or a chemical unit.
Mm.
Um, but there's some other things I learned where I'm like, no, y'all would just rather hit your head on the wall for something. I mean, it's like, again, the whole thing. If we could steal a rocket, borrow a rocket, buy a rocket, make our own rockets, take a rock, put it in a in a hollow pipe, make a potato gun or something. We're gonna shoot. We're gonna go to the field. Like, hey, dude, like,
Oh, dude, when I was going through basic, before we went across the tracks, there was one of the drill sergeants we had was he was a field artillery, and some of the stories he was talking about, like those guys are
mm,
bad shit insane. Like,
oh yeah,
say what you will about bomb disposal, they don't hold a candle to field artillery. Those guys are actually fucked up.
I mean, like I said, there's some of the things that I've experienced there, and nothing. Some, I would say, overall, good experience. You know,
Hmm.
not to get into the whole leadership and everything else like that, but I mean, for the most part, it was good camaraderie and stuff. But it's amazing, like again, going to the field and doing stuff, and especially if you had a chance to go to NTC and you saw the other units that were there that had track vehicles, and you'd be the crazy thing is I've seen a tow bar. I don't know if you guys know what a tow bar is. Well, if you know what a tow bar is, basically it's just two pieces of metal, like
Mm.
metal rods, like go about maybe 6 feet. Anybody can correct me.
All right.
I mean, this junk is like, at least maybe 3 to 5 inches thick,
Okay.
roughly. And so, the basic the tow bar is just hey, your vehicle breaks down. You're gonna hook it to the towing vehicle, probably a wrecker, and you're gonna tow it to another one, so it can tow it. Simple.
Yeah.
This I don't know what I'll just say is a I don't think it was a Bradley, but it was a tank that came through, and I saw this tow bar, and it was like almost like a U shape. Mind you, it's supposed to be straight.
Yeah.
This is a U shape, both bars.
Okay.
And the only thing I could say was, how do you do that? And then that's when like the more experienced people that have been to NTC, they're like, you don't know some of these people, like when it's pitch black dark, you can't see nothing in the desert. And you'd be amazed how many accidents there'll be. Like you have to be careful when you're out there.
Mm-hmm.
And mind you, we're not sleeping in no tents. You're sleeping outside your vehicle, or if you're lucky, you got like a truck, so you can sit. Like if it was like a 5 ton, you're sleeping on the back of the
Yeah.
5 ton, in your own cot. But I was just amazed. Like that is impressive, but I do not want to explain that to any battalion commander, command sergeant major, or whoever, first sergeant, on how I just bent this whole. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what happened to did the tank? Is the tank all right? Like, what? I don't know.
God.
Reasons, but as far as Reacher, like I said, I like it so far. I gotta watch the last episode. Hunter at least explained my one. I had a grievance a little bit where I was like, why does Reacher look so freaking jacked up?
Mm-hmm.
But then
Oh yeah,
he
he's gonna be
reminded me,
Batman.
like,
Everybody knows that.
oh, dude. No, in this case, he looks way bigger than he did. Who was that artist? Because it just popped in my head. There was a guy that
Rob
drew
Liefeld?
Captain America. Yeah, where he looked like all big.
Oh yeah,
and
where he
was
made
like,
Captain America like look like he was on some super steroids.
yeah, that's not to say Reacher was the extreme, but seeing his character, the first thing I was like, why does he look so jacked? And then which I appreciate Hunter. He can explain it next episode it was the fact that in the books, not Hunter. Reacher's going around. He's doing day labor. He's not doing PT like he normally would do. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, that does. A lot of us when we get out, we don't do physical training
Yeah.
afterwards. And so for him, it's day labor, certain things. He's walking on the road, so he's still going to keep somewhat of his physique, but he's going to now start getting more into that, farmer's look in a sense, whatever.
Yep.
Where it's just you're just big, you're not definitely cut,
A
you're
big old
weathered
slab of
and everything.
man.
Yeah, that's it. Like when they grab you, you're surprised. Like, damn, this dude is really strong. We're like, what? How'd you get this so strong? Like,
Yeah. No,
but
that makes sense. Is there anything else aside from Reacher?
Mortal Kombat.
MK1?
I watched MK1.
Oh, okay. Wait. Are we getting into? I don't see.
He
Wait.
has Mortal Kombat cage match, but
Yeah. So you watched one of the movies, or were you playing the game?
no, I was watching the movie, so I had an off day. Decided to watch Mortal Kombat, the one that came out in 1995,
Mm-hmm.
my
Oh, great
classic,
movie.
the one I hold
Absolute
dear.
piece of shit, but a great movie.
What?
The first Mortal Kombat movie is absolute garbage, but it's great. It's like it's the junk food of movies.
I hate you so much right now.
Because
Like
I'm
I
right.
swear to God,
Because I'm right.
I want to slap your mouth, like literally, like do a little quick backhand, like pow. Like when you get too smart with your parents and they go, like that's what I want to do.
No, Daddy, please don't hit me.
I'm so frustrated. My words are mixed up right now. How dare you? Mortal Kombat 1, 1995, it will always be a classic. I don't care what you say.
Don't
If
get
you
me
go
wrong. It is a classic. It's just not a good movie. I will defend that movie to the end of the earth, but I'm not gonna sit here and bold-faced lie saying it is a great movie. It is trash, but it's good trash.
Dude, I want to punch you
It's
so
like the
bad.
Double Dragon movie, man. It's garbage, but it's
No,
great.
shut your mouth. Shut your mouth on that one. Shut
Alyssa
your mouth.
Milano was great in that movie.
No,
it's still a
that
trash
whole movie was
movie.
trash. You can't compare a Double Dragon to Mortal Kombat 1.
Yes, I can.
Not at
And
all.
I did.
Not on my watch.
Yeah.
You must have lost your mind. Put your coat back on. Put it back on. I don't put it on, take it off, put it back on, and take it off again. Don't give me that.
Next, you're gonna say that Street Fighter was the pinnacle of cinema for the '90s.
No, I would never say that because even then,
I will
even
say
then,
this: Mortal Kombat was better than Street Fighter in the movie sense. Never in the games, but the movies, Mortal Kombat was better.
Oh yeah, I mean, so going back to at least I'll go this. As far as Mortal Kombat 1, the reason why I felt like it nostalgic, it almost followed the storyline of the video game at first. Because again, Katana there was a special edition. She was not in the first Mortal Kombat game. I get why. No, she wasn't.
She was in 2.
The only one that I remember distinctly was Reptile.
Yep. He was a hidden character if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you had to knock somebody off the bridge or whatever they had. You would fall down to the spikes, and then if that was it, then that's when you show up and you fought him there.
That sounds familiar. It's been decades. But yeah, that sounds familiar.
Dude, I was almost after watching the movie, I was like, I gotta find where I can get Mortal Kombat. If I can get it, I don't know, on PlayStation, something. If they have it remastered, maybe I'll talk to Pinay Collectibles because he'd be selling some old stuff. Like,
yeah, actually, come to think of it, I don't know of a way to actually get your hands on the original Mortal Kombat without either like downloading a ROM or having it on cartridge or something, or buying the arcade cabinet, because you can get a 1-up arcade cabinet for like $300 that has I think MK 1 through 3 on it.
It was not bad because I mean, first 3 wasn't that bad, but at least what I can say about Mortal Kombat again, it followed the storyline as close as possible. I felt that with the cast that was directed was good except for 3 characters. One was Raiden.
Yep.
None against what's his name? Christopher Lambert, I believe his name is. That was one. That to me screamed,
bad
hey,
pick.
you wanted somebody's name and he was still popular.
Honestly, James Remar was a better pick. He was just in a worse movie.
Remind me who James Remar is?
Do you remember The Warriors?
Yes.
Remember the dude who got who was hitting on the quote unquote hooker and got arrested? That's James Remar. He played Raiden in Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
No, you want to make me so angry right now. I swear to God.
He played the
Oh my god.
character better than than Christopher Lambert, only because he was less comical. Like I always found Lambert's like portrayal of Raiden as like this comical god was really odd.
Yeah, that was the whole that for him. I definitely agree with that. For Reamer, it it just felt odd, and when I say
Well, yeah,
odd,
because
it's
the script
because
fucking sucked. Like the
well, the
dialogue was
scripts.
trash. Had you taken him and put him in the first Mortal Kombat, I think he would have been a better pick because he's a better like he's not a better
Slightly.
actor than Lambert, but he definitely has he plays characters a little better. And like his
Mhm.
portrayal of Raiden was good. It was just his line deliveries were so bad because the script was so bad.
Mm. I
But
still say no.
then again, that's just me. And I actually happen to like Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
If
So
they, I will say this: if they got the guy who played Raiden in the new Mortal Kombat
oh
one,
yeah. Oh yeah.
it's Raiden, it'd have been better. And that I don't care who hears this. You guys may think I'm wrong. Some of the characters in Mortal Kombat were Asian, and
Oh
that was
no,
my
Raiden should have
that was
always
my,
been Asian.
yeah,
Like
that
that
was my
makes
problem
sense to
with.
me because he's the god. He's actually I want to say Raiden actually is the Japanese god of thunder. So
Well, I think it's based on that because initially when I saw it, I thought weirdly they were taking something out of Big Trouble in Little China.
mhm.
Because when this came out, I'm like, oh crap, man, they got the dude from Trouble in Little China. He's
Well,
Shang Tsung.
fun fact that was Ed Boon's that was where Ed Boon got the inspiration for Raiden was the three lightnings in Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh my god, that is awesome. Because that right there, I don't care what anybody says. That is Big Trouble in Little China. It's another classic
Mhm.
from my childhood. I mean, a lot of that had to do with just the chemistry between um, Kurt Russell and the other characters. Because the
Oh
fact that
yeah. Well, that and
he was so
it was
full of
great
himself.
because Kurt Russell was portrayed in the posters and the trailers as the main character, and he was the side character the entire movie. The main
Yeah.
character was was the Asian dude. I can't remember his name right now.
See, and this is why if I'm not saying if Ed Boon, if that was the inspiration, that does make sense on how he made Johnny Cage.
Yep.
Because one thing to Hunter's credit was when he mentioned Mortal Kombat Cage Match, which is the anime, the Legend, Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
Legends anime.
I think the third movie in the series so far. That's a fourth.
Number 4.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It comes between Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion and Mortal Kombat Battle of the Realms.
Right.
So this is how they recruit Johnny Cage.
It wasn't the third one with the blind samurai guy. I can't remember his name right now. Kenshi? No. Is it Kenshi?
I think it's Kenshi because
Okay.
that's how he. Because pretty much it. Not to spoil any. Well, I mean they've been out for a while, but yeah, it's the blind samurai. You find out how he got his sword, how he gets blind, and then you see the progression of what initially happens in the storyline. Which I know we're jumping around, but
Yeah.
that was another thing that was kind of weird, but I liked it. But as far as Johnny Cage, I really felt that now it kind of highlights Kurt Russell's character for as Jack Burton, where it's like he talks. I mean, he could back up his fight a little bit, but he talks a lot of crap. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
like he. So that was
he
the one
really
thing
only
I think.
did like he really only did like one thing through that entire movie, and that was gank Lopan.
Oh yeah,
That's like the only thing he did in the movie was gank Lopan.
That's it. But he became he became indebted in honor. All it does is take one shot. Like,
Yep.
Here goes a strange comparison. What is it? The Dark Avengers, where you had Harry Osborn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't do nothing. We already know he's bad or whatever. He takes out the Queen for the Skrulls. Now all of a sudden, now he's the hero of the story. Forget Captain America. Forget everybody else. Now it's like, hey, the government's gonna fall with you. You're gonna create your own Dark Avengers, and then you're gonna go out and do some stuff. And the guys of you're the good guy now, just because you took one shot, and that's all that mattered. That's it. Hell, that's like freaking Starship Troopers
Yep.
at the end.
Yeah,
The drill sergeant that was there.
it was Mr. Krabs was the one who caught the brain bug.
Yeah, like forget the fact that Johnny Rico, which I do got the pop here too. Forget the fact that him and the people who survived with him went through hell to drive this brain bug to get those information. No, it was that guy who caught him, and that
Mhm.
was it. They forgot everything else. Like,
Yep.
forget you guys. I don't care what you guys did. He caught the bug. He's the guy right now. He's gonna get laid and he's gonna get beers. Who's buying the first round?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, Mortal Kombat again. I think the casting of rating, just with respect to Christopher Lambert in the first one, didn't jive with me. But I understand it was uh, an attention grabber for people to come through.
Hmm.
It's gonna sound funny, Scorpion and Sub Zero.
Hmm.
If you don't see their faces, I do feel they should have been more. I do feel like that again should have been played by Asians or at least more mystified in a way where like Sub Zero's eyes were not they're like regular pupils where like now you see them they're more fogged out or you see
Yep.
the what you call it it's light like a real light gray blue. You still can
Hmm.
see the inside of his eyes, but it's not as prevalent as you see in the movie. Um, the fight scenes were pretty good, even though at that time I wish they were longer. But again,
Well,
that's
Robin
then.
Shu is a great martial artist. So, like, I love the dude who plays Liu Kang. Like, Robin Shu did a great job in that movie. And I can never remember his name. The guy who played Shang Tsung. He's another one who's like a great actor.
Oh, he has a long name too. So I was looking
Hmm.
up on his stuff. Like him, yeah. Like that was a great casting. I think Sonya
Oh,
Blade.
Sonya Blade was great. I can't. What's her name?
Don't ask me.
I
I didn't
loved.
look at.
I was
Nope.
in love with her as a kid. Hold on, we need to get her name. That is
Oh
an,
yeah, she was in Billy Madison.
yeah.
She was in a bunch of movies, which at least where her
Bridget
fight one.
Wilson. Bridget
Bridget Wilson.
Wilson. By the way, even to this day, still a smoke show. Like, oof.
I will have to look up pictures later on.
You'll thank me
When I'm in
later.
hiding. Okay. I do the hiding. No. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I can say. If I had some complaints, would be just those three things. Of course, I wish the fighting was longer, but then again, this is '95. You're not
Kind
gonna
of wish
have
it
long
had an R
fights.
rating.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Could have
given the
definitely used an R
fatalities,
rating.
yeah. Here's a complaint about Mortal Kombat One, and maybe because they didn't maximize their time, like they were putting too much already in. Goro.
Yes.
Now
I will say that
Goro,
I think the reason why the Goro scenes were so small was because the animatronics that they used to make Goro were probably
mhm,
very difficult.
I don't quote me, but I believe it was one man to wear the suit.
Hmm.
I think four people to control the arms, the facial, and everything.
Yep.
Because it does have a note. It does have a slight nod to how the Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
If you look how their facial things was. My complaint is not about that. My complaint is he had his brief fight with Johnny Cage.
Yep.
Johnny Cage runs, which I don't blame him. Dude got four arms and he's beating everybody's ass.
Those are fifteen
Runs
hundred.
out to a
Those are
cliff.
$1,500 sunglasses, you asshole.
So I mean, even with that, yeah, that was a classic line that one. But here's my thing though: punch him in the balls.
Yep.
Love that.
That's
So I'm like,
great.
okay, that's classic Cage.
Very Sean Claude Van Damme with him.
Here goes my gripe, and somebody can say, "Hey, you're wrong for this one." So he catches up to Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage is basically on a ledge,
Hmm.
just nowhere to run. Gore comes out. Johnny Cage is on the side, kicks him, does like a real quick 3-hit combo. Gore misses, kicks him again, falls over the edge.
Hmm.
Johnny Cage looks at him and goes, "This is where you fall."
Yep.
My gripe, and based upon that footage, a being that has four arms. He is excellently cut. He's in fit shape.
Yep.
He has four arms,
Hmm.
four hands,
Hmm.
a total of 12 fingers.
Yes. Well,
Big fingers.
he had the Ninja Turtle syndrome. He only had 3 fingers per hand.
Yeah, we have 3 fingers.
Yeah.
I can't even do that. With 3 fingers.
Okay, no, I can't math. You're correct. 12 fingers.
Yet you couldn't reach your other arms to grab the edge to bring yourself up.
So I have a little little head theory as to why that didn't work. Now, if you
Ah.
remember correctly, that
Hmm.
Goro was a strunk boy, if you will. He had them big monstrous traps. He couldn't lift his hands up that high. It's just impossible. I don't know if you ever seen a person who like overworks their traps.
Yeah.
They can't lift their arms. So it's very possible he was just too cut for this world.
Oh my god. He didn't do his stretches properly. But yeah, I'm like, my wife is laughing at me because I'm watching this. I'm like, hold on. Why is he holding the edge with one hand? Like
Mm-hmm.
you literally have three other hands. Now I get it. If you tell me to do a pull up right now, I may be able to do one or two.
More than I could do.
No shame in that. No shame in that. If it's curl ups, hey, I got about three or four.
Yep.
But the fact that he's supposed to be this strong being and this is how he gets taken out, kind of makes me laugh about the movie. Like oh, this like you went like I get it. Like he lost face. Like you went out like a chump
Mm-hmm.
on that part. But um, as far as Mortal Kombat, great. The ending always gives me goosebumps.
Oh yeah, it's
Type
a
of
great ending.
goosebumps because there's the whole fact, you killed my brother, and he's like, surrender, and he's like, never, and he just starts going. Like the music again for that time frame, for those who weren't born at that time or
Mm-hmm.
was living, I think my co-host was about he was 5, I think. I don't know.
What was
It
that?
was 95. It was 95, so he might have been 5.
I was 89, so I was 6. I watched that movie in theaters, bro.
Oh my god, your parents are horrible. A lot
Yeah.
of violence. A lot of violence. What's wrong with you? No, I'm
You're
joking.
right.
Um, but yeah, that's that ending scene, man. When that music started and he was just doing those combos, he was like, "Ah, bah, bah, bah." I'm telling you, at 15, I was just loving it. I was like,
Oh
yo,
yeah.
this is it. This is it.
That was so Mortal Kombat was actually my first foray into techno music.
Hmm.
Not a huge fan of techno, but I definitely do bump that Mortal Kombat theme every once in a while.
Oh yeah.
You want a
After that
good
movie, I
workout
did.
music? You just put the Mortal Kombat theme on loop.
Oh yeah. I'll bite you then. I'll bite your ear, whatever. We're gonna fight. That's put that on. I'm gonna lose the fight probably, but I'm gonna be scratching everything. Like I'm gonna be hyped. Like ah. Um. Oh my god, we're talking crap. So then we went to Mortal Kombat 2.
Okay, it's a wash, shitty movie. We don't even have to talk about it. Still love it
I'm
though.
gonna finish it,
Yeah.
but like I told Hunter, that movie felt, and again, it came out in '97.
Yeah.
So this is giving them credit. 2 years from
Mm-hmm.
'95 to '97. More than likely, it was more likely less than that. And
Got a straight to VHS release.
oh,
Um,
it did. It didn't even come out in
oh, that
theaters.
yeah, Annihilation never went to theaters.
Oh,
They changed 90% of the cast because I think the only two returning characters were Robin Shu and the lady who played Katana. Everybody else was different.
yeah. And that was the one thing. The one thing I give up to the original Sonya Blade, she had she had attitude.
Well,
Like
yeah.
like she had straight attitude. She had the demeanor like I'm gonna whip it. Even though I'm not saying she consider herself small, but it was like I'm not gonna take no shit for anybody. I'm gonna go
Mm-hmm.
at you. The new Sonya Blade was more like she see Johnny Cage dies, and I think that's why probably Johnny Cage, the guy who played Johnny Cage, didn't come back because they killed him off like that in the very beginning.
I used to know the reason why they didn't bring back what's his face because he was kind of pissed because he wanted to come back. I
Hmm.
think it might have been because they killed him off because he wasn't in. I want to say it was Mortal Kombat 3 didn't have Johnny
Three,
Cage in it.
yeah, because so what they
And I think
did,
that's kind of what they were trying to go base the story off of was the third one.
which again was which again was weird, and I felt like I was the downfall. Like you took Mortal Kombat 2,
Mm-hmm.
you took Mortal Kombat 3, you pretty much killed the story of what led from the results of them losing Mortal Kombat 1, what started off Mortal Kombat 2, and then what led to Mortal Kombat 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you did it again, mind you, this is the time during where and correct me if I'm wrong, it's not too many sequels that come out. I mean, you're still doing like one-off
97,
movies.
yeah, there wasn't a there it wasn't that wasn't like now where there's a sequel to something every other day.
Yeah, to where they plan out trilogies. So if they could have planned it out now, you could have did a great trilogy that lead it up. And
Well,
to
fun
me, it just
segue.
meant
You know that Carl Urban is playing Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat 2, yes?
who?
Carl Urban. Billy Butcher from The Boys.
No, no, no. I know who you're talking about. You're saying he's playing Johnny Cage.
He is cast as Johnny Cage in the new Mortal Kombat movie. Mm-hmm.
Come on, man.
Oh, I don't care. He's great.
I gotta see it. He
I will
does.
watch any movie with him in it because he is like Carl Urban's amazing. He was the one who made me believe that there are people out there who could act with only their chin. Because we need another Dread movie. We are in the worst timeline where they did not green light Dread 2.
I thought he talked about that too, on why they didn't do it. I think it was more of a.
Oh,
I don't know if it was a money
it
thing.
failed in the box office, but when it came to home release, it made all their money back and then some. Like
Yeah.
the movie was a success, it just wasn't a success in theaters.
Right.
So I think there's still a campaign going to try and get it off the ground, but at this point, I don't think it's ever coming.
No, I gotta see it. I don't know. Like some reason I can't see him as Johnny Cage. I can't.
That's fair. I can, but that's because I have good eyes apparently.
Oh my god. You're the same guy who said the Rimmer would have been a better rating in part one. Either way, they would have been. Anyways, so let's finish Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, let's finish this shit up.
That was again them taking Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, the video game, smashing it all together. With as far as the characters, again, Mortal Kombat 2, they didn't really follow the storyline. It was just more or less of Shao Kahn saying, "Hey, we're gonna come in." They used Sidel's death, and that's how they do it. Everything, and then everybody's story was so jacked. Like from the fights, the costumes were jacked up. Sub-Zero's costume was just like, it looked like something I bought at what's that one, Spirit Halloween.
Yeah, right.
And say, "Hey, throw this on." It just felt like they were just trying to do too many things at too much time. Like everybody had a fight. Like every 10 seconds,
there was a
like
fight
a
every other minute. It seemed.
Yeah, and then the fights didn't necessarily mean that Sonya gets captured again. And then the one thing I hate about it is that they try to take the same formula that worked for Mortal Kombat 1 and go, well, Liu, you have to do the three things. And Liu Kang's like, what three things do I have to do? It's always these tests. And I'm like, why does he have to do another 3 tests? Why 3? Why not 5? Why not 10? Why not 1? Why none at all? But for some reason, Liu Kang has to do these 3 tests in order for him to do it.
Well, he has to get his animality.
Oh my god, dude.
So let's just bum rush the rest of this because the more we talk about Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the worse I feel about myself.
Anyways, I didn't finish Mortal Kombat.
The CG battle at the end with the giant monsters was peak stupidity.
Not even that. Nothing against the guy who played Shao Kahn. He was.
No, he's great. He's great as villainous characters. He was actually. Do you remember Cobra?
Yeah, I remember
he was
Cobra.
the leader of the Axe Gang.
Yeah, he's been in Cobra. He did a guest spot in NCIS.
Yep.
He's the main bad guy, alien bad guy in X-Files, going around assassinating.
Yep.
It's just for Shao Kahn, it didn't feel right. I feel like he was a theatrical villain.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention that he had a mallet that looked like something you play. What's that one game people play in college? The rich people, croquet or whatever like that. It's like it just felt too theatrical. It didn't feel like Shao Kahn the Conqueror. Like, and again, if you go to the Mortal Kombat Legends, the one thing that surprised me is we were getting our ass whoops in these tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Like Liu Kang was okay, but I swear to God, like somebody had to come and hook him up with something because he would get his ass handed to him.
Yep.
And then when you watch Battle of the Realms, dude, Shao Kahn, he messes up everybody. Like it's not even funny. Like the first time you play against him in Mortal Kombat 2. That's all I gotta say about Mortal Kombat 2.
So you've watched the new Mortal Kombat movie, I'm assuming, yes?
Yes, I have.
Okay. I liked it.
I have.
It was very good. Had its moments. It could have been better, but My biggest
Yeah.
problem was the sound of all things. The sound editing and pacing was absolute trash. Um,
Well,
but yeah,
my
aside from that, I think that was my only gripe. That and Cole was
Mhm.
definitely a Mary Stew. He had literal plot armor.
Who's the Mary Stu?
Oh well, he wouldn't be like a Mary Stew, but he had literal plot armor because his special power was his body turned to armor.
I'm not saying Black Panther came out before this, and maybe there's more stuff that came, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, when I watched it the second time, that when it hit me, like, okay, it has the same kinetic power as the Black Panther suit. Like, okay,
Oh yeah, well I
um,
really like the idea of like having a like your special ability is being able to manipulate kinetic energy. I thought that was really cool. It just came off as sort of silly just because it
right.
looked like he had actual plot armor.
I mean, I think when I watched it twice already.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I had to, and again, jumping into this rabbit hole of Mortal Kombat, I had to separate my bias for the first one and
Mm-hmm.
growing up with the video games and realizing that between the movies in the 90s, the Mortal Kombat Legends, and the new Mortal Kombat, and there's even more crap as far as Mortal Kombat Legacy and all this mess. It's basically almost like three timelines, three stories, whatever. Because even with Mortal Kombat, why I loved it, um, well, I want to say I loved it. I enjoyed it. I wasn't feeling Cole's character. I felt
That's
like
fair.
this was just. I feel like this was something that you could have had his character be a minor character
Yep.
in the whole fact of, hey, weirdly like what's that Tom Hanks movie,
Castaway.
The Da Vinci Code,
Oh.
where they got to find, quote unquote, find the last lineage of Jesus and
Yeah, yeah,
Jesus and
yeah.
Mary, whatever. You could have had a small thing where it's like the person doesn't know you're the key for Scorpion to come back
Mm-hmm.
and get his revenge and do this mess. Because again, with this one, other than the fact that they can say Sub Zero was a champion, that's why he was living for so long. Which I thought was a cool nod that in the end he looked just like Noob Saibot.
Yep. Well, because
Which
he is Noob Saibot.
Yeah, which he is. Which for some reason the first time around I didn't notice until talking to Hunter, watched it again, and I'm like, oh crap! Like he literally his armor breaks off and he's now in majority an all black outfit. Now he's gonna be Noob Saibot. But for the most part, I agree with you. The storyline didn't make sense because it seemed like you got no context in the beginning other than the fact that Earth has one more tournament to either win or lose. If they lose, Shao Kahn invades the realm.
Mm-hmm.
Shang Tsung is trying to find all these champions that have these dragon tattoos, which I don't know if that was something from the video games. I know that
No,
was
that was just
something
made up for the
in.
movie.
Okay, so it wasn't a connection to like Mortal Kombat 2 because Mortal Kombat 2 had those dragon tattoos too. When somebody would die, it would come off their body.
Yeah, no, I don't think that was ever. That might have been a nod to the movie, but not to. I don't think that was ever in the games.
Okay. So that was the one thing that I was like, didn't necessarily agreed upon. And the same thing, they included characters that were in the games
Mm.
in different games, and then put him in there. Some of them were just
The fact that
again
Reiko was in there shows that the guys are fans of the Mortal Kombat series because Reiko is the most one-note fucking character
Mhm,
aside from like Meat or Cobra.
mhm,
But yeah, the fact that Reiko was in there, I was like, okay, at least this person knows their Mortal Kombat.
right. So I mean, it does. Welcome. I mean, again, compared to Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 1, the newest one, is again better
Mm-hmm.
than that one. Um, and the Legends, I think the Legends just hold up. The anime is great if you watch the Legends.
I have
Uh,
them,
I
I
was
just haven't
very,
watched them yet.
I was really impressed with them. The only one that was kind of shaky, I thought, was the third one with I think is that is Kenshi or whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't seem the anime didn't seem as intense as the first two because Mortal Kombat Cage Match is a different anime style,
Yeah.
and we can talk about that next time on that part. But That's
Yeah,
it
that's
on
fair.
Mortal
'Cause I think
Kombat for
Hunter
me.
has that on his list, so we'll leave that for
Yeah.
him. Okay.
So I don't know. That was my whole, and then unless you want me to talk some more. I mean, I watch a bunch of other stuff too.
Okay. Well,
So let's switch it.
What was that?
You talk about something on your list.
Okay, so my list is literally because I couldn't. It's been a weird one. So funny you mentioned that your son decided that'd be a good day to just wake up vomiting. Mine yesterday. He had a bit of a cough for like the past day or two, so I thought nothing of it. Last night, giving him his food, drank like 10 ounces of formula, his usual, because he's a hefty boy. And he just kind of like he gives me this like eyes shoot wide open. He gives me this look. That boy was staring daggers into my soul as he emptied the contents of his stomach onto my face, shirt, and pants. So he's a little sick right now. Took him to the doctors and they gave him some stuff. So he should get better. But yeah, that's been a little rough. But aside from getting heavily vomited on, I spent the last week watching the documentary. Now, I know Hunter might know of this person, but it'd be very interesting if you do. Have you ever heard of a person named Chris Chan?
Christian or Chris
Chris
Chan?
Chan.
Robbie, if I knew what they played in,
They didn't play in anything. They are infamous on the internet. I would say Christine Weston Chandler is probably the most documented human being on the planet. There is a documentary on YouTube called Chris Chan: The Comprehensive History. It is on part 84 right now, and these are like 40 to 50 minute long, like little documentaries that go through from birth to modern day. And I don't know if you've ever watched the show Neon Genesis Evangelion. I'm kind of getting flashes of that just because it starts like the story starts out like kind of normal, and see the guy's a little does have some problems because he's a high functioning autistic man. But the story starts out kind of like normal, like okay, kid's got some problems, but seems to be going well enough. And then we get to the modern era, and all I can think of is the ending of Evangelion, where I'm just sitting there going like, what the fuck? What did I just witness? It is a roller coaster of a ride. If you have the stomach for it, I highly recommend watching this documentary. It is a trip. But yeah, Chris Chan, A Comprehensive History by Gino Samuel. And it's still ongoing. It's almost better for you to go into it without knowing anything about this guy, because it'll actually it'll make the ride for you a lot better, because you won't know the horrible shit that happens towards the end. And like I said, it is an ongoing documentary because there are still things going on.
This is a real person.
This is a person that lives like a couple hours away from us. They're down in Ruckersville, Virginia. Or it's Ruckersville or Charlottesville. But yeah, they're like down the street pretty much. Like it's an interesting watch. I recommend just going in blind and going in a couple episodes and just seeing how you feel about it.
And what's it on?
YouTube. Just remind me after the podcast. I'll send you a link if you can't find it. But yeah, if you look up Gino Samuel 2.1 on YouTube, you'll find his playlist for the Chris Chan documentary.
My thing is that the way you make it seem like this is like the police or somebody should be involved in this.
I'm wondering
how long. Say the way you make it seem like somebody should be. The Gino Nagar.
Gino Samuel. is the name of the Geno Samuel 2.1 is the name of the channel. If you just type in Chris Chan documentary, you should see an 81 page playlist or an 81 video playlist called Chris Chan: A Comprehensive History. But yeah, so I watched and caught up with that, and that was that's a trip, man. I also finished up Reacher season 2. I really liked it. Not gonna spoil anything, but I thought it was really good. Let's see here. Some games, however, because that's been kind of my week when I'm not doing work and whatnot. I played some games. Mm-hmm. But the first one, though, I'm going to talk about, I haven't played yet. I have seen some stuff on it, and I want to play it. I just don't want to dish out the money right this second. Have you ever heard of a little ditty called Pal World?
I want to say yes, I want to say no.
So, do you like Pokemon? Or do you like the idea of what a Pokemon game could be?
Possibly. I mean, I played Pokemon Go.
Okay. Now, how would you feel if in Pokemon Go you just threw in machine guns? So, Pal World is part Monster Hunter, part Pokemon, part Breath of the Wild. You are a quote unquote, or you are a Pokemon trainer who utilizes submachine guns, missile launchers, hatchets, and to capture your weird cockfighting alien creatures. The game looks nutty. Apparently, it's really fun though. But yeah, it's this open world online game where you build a character and you go catch Pokemons by shooting them. It's crazy. I would recommend taking a look at the trailer at some point because it looks bonkers. Okay. Aside from that,
do they attack you?
It's on. Say that again.
Do they attack you?
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
Okay.
But yeah, it's PC. I don't know if it's gonna come out on any of the consoles, but it's worth a look into because it looks pretty ridiculous. Some things I have played. Weird RPG. It's a student project that they have on sale for Steam. I think it's on sale right now for like $10. It plays like Diablo, but the system, like the back end system, is what makes this game great. There are like every items that you get are just like Diablo. It's like a loot or dungeon crawler where you like kill monsters and get better loot. The thing that is good about this is there are certain loot items, like legendary items, that tie to specific things going on. Like, say for instance, there's an item where that gains more power by how sluggish and laggy the game is running at the time. So the more frames you lose, the stronger the weapon gets. And then there's some items where it's like, depending on internal components in your computer, they'll be stronger or weaker.
What?
Or certain ones are some armor will give you more stat boosts depending on the time of day you're playing. I would recommend looking into it. The game is really interesting, and it looks like it has some really fun mechanics to it. I've only played like maybe 10 minutes, but I really like what I see so far. And I was sold when I heard that there was a weapon that had damage tied to frame rate. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, because with that one, what's interesting about that particular part, is that it reminds me of Destiny. Destiny had an issue. I think this was more for PC. I don't know if it was for console, but the issue was that a certain enemy, they call them knights, but the other name is called boomers. But basically, they shoot projectiles at you. They were causing more damage based on the frames per second. And so if you had it at a certain frames, I guess it was more frames. I guess it was better resolution. Somehow the game couldn't register it correctly, and the enemies was causing more damage to you.
Yep.
So people were going back to reduce that.
From a back end perspective, there are some things that there are some like corners you can cut to do things like that. Like I know there are a lot of games, especially in like the early 2000s, that would tie like weapon damages to frame rate.
Hmm.
So like yeah, it is something that you do see sometimes. I know Dark Souls 2 on the PC, item durability was based off frame rate. So if you were playing at 60 frames a second, your items would just decrease, their durability would decrease faster.
Which I mean, in the case of Destiny, it was not. They say it was not intended, but with Dark Souls, that feels like that's intended. Like, hey man, go buy a better TV or something. If not,
So it's not really based off the TV. It's like an internal setting. So your frame rate is usually tied to your graphic and your graphics card and your CPU. So as
hmm
long as those are like in the case of like Dark Souls per se,
hmm
if your hardware can run it, you could flick the toggle over to 60 frames, and then it just makes the game look smoother.
hmm
So that's why I'm pretty sure the one you're talking about in Destiny was probably a PC thing, because I know there is an FPS slider on there, so that could be it.
but it is again that is interesting because it's like having something tied to the real world in its sense. Again, like you say, with the components affecting the output of certain weapons, certain
Mm,
armors, as well as the time and day. I do like that aspect. I think there's a couple of games I played before. I think Division was like that. Depending on the time and day when you played, a certain enemy would come out, or a certain environment, the way it would be. Not to say it affect gameplay too much, but it gave it a different aspect to it on that part. You know, again, if you're fighting at night, your weapons, the way you're scoping, you're not going to be able to look at certain things effectively.
mm.
So interesting though.
Okay. But yeah, so Weird RPG was pretty good. Final Cut is it's kind of like a 2D version of Bushido Blade if you ever played that on the PS1. It's like a one hit one kill samurai game.
Hmm.
I've been following it for about 2 years now, and they just released it on Steam, so I was like, I had to buy that. It's great. I put a lot of time into that one just because it's a great just pick up and play game, and some of the mutators in there are really awesome. Like you just change the katanas to lightsabers,
Hmm.
and it runs off of you remember that ending scene in the first Kill Bill where Uma Thurman's running through just slashing everybody up, and it's just like over the top violent.
Yeah.
So that's for Final Cut. It's just like you hit a dude in there. It's like three dudes just exploded out of their like carotid
Hmm.
artery. But it's really cool because when you turn the lightsabers on, it gets rid of that, and you get like smoke puffs and like little
Hmm.
bits of blood puffs. But you still watch them just like fall into pieces when you hit them. It's a really cool system. It's a fun little game. So that was one that I really like. The other two I want to talk about, I've been playing on my Switch. One is 20 Minutes Till Dawn. Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay. Have you heard of Vampire Survivors?
No, I don't want to lie to you.
Okay. Do you know what a shoot 'em up game is? Or a
Yes.
bullet
No.
hell?
Yes.
Okay. So Vampire Survivors is the opposite of a bullet hell, where instead of you playing the ship that has to dodge all the bullets to kill the final boss, you are
Mm-hmm.
the final boss, and you're trying to dodge all of the enemies while you're
Hmm.
also shooting off stupid amounts of projectiles. So these are kind of called like bullet heaven games. And 20 Minutes Till Dawn is a newer is I know it recently released on the Switch. Instead of the 30-minute timer like in Vampire Survivors, this one you get 20 minutes and you actually have full control on your shooting, but you can
Hmm.
swap it to auto target, because that's the one thing with with a bullet heaven, your moves are shooting out at like intervals and you're not aiming them.
Hmm.
So this one you do get a little more control with it, but for the proper experience, you just click in that right analog stick and just start walking around blasting.
Hmm.
But that one's pretty fun. Still have not completed a run in it because it is hard as shit. I've come down to 30 seconds left on the clock and just fucking ate it because it got too crowded for me.
Hmm.
But 20 Minutes Till Dawn's really good. I recommend it, and it's like $10. It's dirt cheap. Maybe it might be 15 actually, but it's a really fun game. I like it.
Is this first person, over the top,
I'd
third?
say more like isometric.
Okay.
So You know how you have top down where you're looking at like
Yeah.
bird's eye view, like original Grand Theft Auto? Shift the
Yeah.
camera 45 degrees. So you're looking at like
Okay.
the top of their shoulders, but from that bird's eye view.
Got you.
All right. But yeah, so 20 minutes till dawn. Really like it. It's super fun. The other one is Dungeon Limbus. Now, we're gonna go into some old school shit here. Have you ever played a game called Rogue? Old
No.
PC game, NetHack.
If it's anything with PC, no.
Okay, so it's a dungeon
Thanks.
crawler. It is.
Nico just revealed I wasn't rich. I didn't grow up rich. We couldn't afford a computer.
All you had was a stick with a bandana on it, just tied with all your
Pretty much,
all
yeah.
your worldly belongings.
That is it. It was. I mean, I know you're gonna talk about your subject, but for real, growing up was Nintendo. 30 minutes of Nintendo. Some offshoot games. Not everybody had the same games I had. And then the rest of the time was go outside and play.
Yep.
I'm like, there ain't nothing to do. Go find
Get the hell out
something.
of the house.
Yeah, go find something. And then you go out and play. That's it.
All right. Okay. So rogue or roguelikes in general are dungeon crawlers. So instead of like take your standard Dungeons and Dragons game, get rid of all the role playing and just throw the character into a dungeon. That's Rogue. And those happen to be some of my favorite games. There's one on the Switch called Dungeon Limbus, which is it is part card game, part town builder, and a whole lot of dungeon crawling. It is stupid fun. It's one of those games where you just start a run and you're like, man, this game is stupid. Next thing you know, you're in there for like 6 hours and you're like, holy shit, where'd the day go? It is really good. I want to say it's like $10 and it's worth every penny. It's a really fun game to pick up, especially if you out on the Switch, because you can just take it with you. You got to go to the toilet, just walk over to the toilet, keep playing. There might be a version on the phone too. And if so, I think it'd actually play a little better on the phone, because one of the things I run into with it is I end up sometimes hitting the button too, like movement button too quick and lose a turn. The only drawback that I will say about the game, and one that really, really pisses me off, is there is no wait button. So most of the time in these games, you have the ability to skip your turn. This one does not have that. So positioning yourself to not get the first hit when you're fighting a monster is key with these games. And the fact that you don't have the ability to like end your turn prematurely really blows, because I'll be trying to not get cornered, so I'll just have to like keep whacking myself up against a wall and hope that somebody doesn't flank me. But what I will say is nice about the game, aside from that, is the fact that you can use items and it doesn't count against your turn. And it's probably one of the only roguelikes I've ever played that does not have cursed items. So that's another thing that's like kind of nice. Or random potions. Like, I don't think there's anything in there that would act like any items you could pick up that actively hurt your character. I did get armor that said it was cursed, but I died before I could figure out what that meant. Because most of the time in roguelikes, when you get a cursed item, you usually just can't remove it. It's stuck on your character until you get it fixed somehow. But yeah, that was the only thing I remember, is I died on one of my runs and it said the armor I had on was cursed, and I never got anything that was better than it. So I think that's why I never tried to take it off. But yeah, it's really good. It's a great time waster. And the story's ass. Artwork, the character portraits are garbage, but the actual sprite work is really good. But yeah, no, it's a fun game. I really I enjoy it. And that was pretty much my week. Trying to think if there was anything else I really did. I finished putting together all of my Warhammer Fantasy models that I just picked up. So I primed the Chaos Warriors, and that was about it. I gotta go back and finish that up. But aside from that, I've just been kind of waiting for stuff to happen.
Right.
Yeah, so that's my week. I will say this though, we're gonna have to probably, I'd say let's get into your topics now and kind of not bum rush through them, but I do have to. I gotta go take over baby duties from wife, because I feel bad leaving her with Captain
No,
Puke Your
you're
Pants
good.
over there.
Um,
Or unless you want to save that for like with Hunter too, because Hunter's more the intellectual, whereas I'm the kind of guy who like square peg round hole. It'll fit eventually.
right. I mean, well, I would say is briefly about the subjects I have. Um,
Because it was interesting reading through those.
yeah, because it was. So one thing, and I wanted. I'm tongue tied now. Um, that was the reason why I wanted you to talk about your week because I didn't want to. If you let me talk, I'll once I get comfortable, I'll keep
Oh, you'll keep
talking.
going for hours. I know. I
Oh
have
yeah.
worked with you. Remember?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it over. And this is a two-man show. So, well, three-man show, but two man right now. But
Exactly.
um, I don't know. I just went like it was weird. Again, Hunter. Again, first it was Mortal Kombat. Then he mentioned something. Then something told me, "Hey, watch Reacher." And then from Reacher, I started watching the other shows. Um, and after watching Loki season 2, if you haven't watched it,
I haven't watched it yet. Is it worth watching?
dude, I maybe I'm just in.
I know you have a
Yeah, I
very
was.
hard PP for Marvel, so
It was. I would say right now, with all the TV series that came out,
mm.
it's number one.
Okay, that's fair, and
No,
I
it's
believe
number
that because
one.
the first Loki I really liked. I had some problems, but I don't want to get canceled today. But I thought it was pretty good.
Hmm.
I am curious to see if they rectify the Kang issue because that's
Far,
kind of an issue.
what are you talking about? As far as what issue?
Well, I was
Like the
I don't know where I
the
heard this, but I
personal
thought I
matter?
heard something like they're going to use Loki season 2 to kind of gear towards whoever's going to be the next big bad. I'm assuming Doctor Doom somehow, but because Majors is out, and I don't think they're going to be
Yeah.
following up with anything Kang related. They're gonna. I think they even came out and said they're distancing themselves from it. So
Right. Well, right now I would say the way it ends, it ends again. It ends beautifully.
mm,
Like I got the same feeling as Mortal Kombat 1
okay. Oh,
When Liu Kang again was fighting Shang Tsung, that final fight, and
mm,
he overcome this fear, his self blame for his brother's death, everything. That's how I felt Loki ended,
okay,
and the way it ended, if it goes the route they're trying to do, yes, I can see how they could take Kang out, like
okay, okay.
something happened. I mean, nothing happens in the show. I'm not spoiling nothing that happens in season 1, but I felt like if the way it ended, if you wanted to face Kang out, you could easily. I felt like you could easily write something to where, due to these actions in season 2 ending, this calls something for Kang or one of the Kangs or the Council of Kangs plans that it caused it to not come to fruition, but it opened the door for Doctor Doom or another main bad guy
Yeah.
to come in. Kind of, I
Okay.
mean, if you want to, you can easily say, depending on how Deadpool goes, could be the way they open it up for mutants to come back, or
Oh.
I mean, it could be because
Yeah.
supposedly
No. Fair.
there's
That does make me. I'm interested to see what how it goes. Maybe I'll start that tonight. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's dude, it just
Because I've.
watch it so we can talk about it because that was my whole thing about redemption is that in any story you read,
Mm,
and I won't go in depth with it. I guess your opinion would be is how far is too far, and that's why I gave the examples because you do
gotcha.
have
Okay.
Loki. You'll see in season 2, Ganks because I can't say that word to save my life, but we talked about that about the two at least two of the characters that you
Yep.
thought their selfless act to save somebody where it cost them their life. Um,
The hero's
e-
sacrifice.
yeah, it's that whole thing I did. I mean, I didn't even put it in there, but it popped in my head. It's like if you're familiar with Star Wars, um, crap, he was in my head. And I think it's Darth Revanus, where he
Oh
started
yeah.
out
No.
as
There's. Or no? Are you thinking of Darth Plagueis?
no, 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 no. Darth. If I'm not saying his name right, he comes from the Knights of the Old Republic. He
Yeah, the
was a
one,
Jedi
the
Knight.
Kylo Ren mask one.
Yeah, he
I
was a
got you.
Jedi
Okay.
Knight. Then he went Sith. Then he went back to Jedi Knight. So, that's a subject for you guys to contemplate and listen to. Is like, how far does a character have to go in order for you can sign off on their redemption?
Ooh,
Because in
that
some
is a good
cases,
question.
I'm like we talked about before with games. There's certain things. It's like there is no redemption. Even if you did something at the end, um, you know, does that justify everything on that one? And so the examples I gave, like again, with not to sound religious, but in the Bible you have a character called Saul that becomes Paul. He
Yeah,
changes
isn't
his
he the
name.
one who like killed his kid or something like that, or something? Or he
No,
was like,
this one. So Saul was in the Bible in the New Testament. He was and again, anybody can correct me if I'm wrong. He was he was a Jew, but he was a zealot. Like you couldn't go against this. So he was
mm,
actually, I believe he was basically he was going after the followers of Jesus of Christianity, or at that time, as far as Hebrew and stuff like that, we're going after them. And eventually, in the Bible, God basically tells him, "Hey, I'm going to use you." Paraphrasing, I'm going to use you for my example, and that's when he changed his name to Paul, and he became a witness for God.
mm,
And so the one reason why it popped in my head was like in the at least in the Bible, there shows that he's done some. If he didn't kill him outright, he led people to their death because they follow certain things. So the Bible does show that hey, at one point when he changed his life around, he does everybody's scared of him because like hold on, this guy was the same guy that just went after this person, and that person disappeared. Like what happened to him? Um. So again, it goes back to the hero's death. Like, how far does the character got to go to where you can sign off and go, yes, he he or she earned that right there. It cost him the life, but we're good with that. Or it's like, nah, even if you did this, you don't get no redemption. I hope you burn in, yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell, kind of
yeah,
thing. Quote
yeah. I
Samuel
can't.
Jackson.
Nishi, it comes to mind. Like that boy deserved everything he got.
Right.
But no, aside from like Gantz, I can't really think of any. Oh, God, not off the top of my head. I'd have to. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, let it marinate. I mean, I swear there was a movie I saw, but I can't remember where there was a guy that was a bad guy.
Mm.
Like he was bad. Like I don't know if it was an anime or something. And then eventually you find out, oh no, he was he was a good guy. But what happened was is that he had to be this bad guy in order for the hero of the story, the kid or whatever that grows up and eventually overthrows whatever. It gets found out like later on, like I did all this because there was no way for me to end this. So I had to become what I hated in order for you to do what you guys, for him and whatever crew, for you guys to do whatever you have to do. And so that also goes back to redemption. Like how far does somebody that's deemed bad go for you to go, okay, I can sign off on that one. And that's why I love Loki. Like you saw what happens in season one, you'll see what happens in season two.
Mm.
And again, goosebumps. I
Yeah,
Could be
I
me. Maybe
got
I'm in
one.
my feelings.
So Walter White from Breaking Bad. So
I haven't watched that one, but I know what you're talking about.
okay, well, I mean, let's be fair. The dude has terminal cancer. It's said in the first episode. You kind of know how the story's gonna end. It's just
Yeah.
you're there for the journey. Um, in my opinion, as much as I like the character of Walter White and sympathize with him, I think he deserved everything he got.
Mm.
Um,
So
but
you're against cancer survivors.
what was that?
You're against cancer survivors then.
Oh, damn, I even said like 10 minutes ago I was not gonna get canceled today.
You heard it here, folks, first. You heard it here, folks.
Yeah, right. But no, that's a big one that comes to my mind is as far as that goes, like, or even Frank Castle's another one that because he ends up dying in the end of the Garth Ennis run.
Right.
I definitely don't think Frank Castle is a redeemable character, but the reason why I like him is because even he knows he's not a redeemable character. He's literally there
Right.
to do. He's got one thing on his mind, and that's what he's going to do, like a machine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like most of the time, like I can think of ones like that don't get that redemption.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to think of the ones that do though. Um, yeah, Boromir, he definitely got the like he was redeemed in my opinion in Lord of the Rings,
Mm-hmm.
but that's like the only other one I could think of.
Okay. We'll marinate it.
Oh
Hopefully,
yeah,
Hunter gets better. For that one, but yeah, dude, for real. When you finish, I don't care what time you finish Loki. Text me. I might be asleep. I'll probably check. Usually, I get up by 4:30. I'll be like, I just want to get your honest opinion, and be like, dude, like, yeah, oh man.
how many
I
episodes?
hope
8, 6.
8 episodes, and I think they're only 42 minutes, 43
Okay, that's fine.
for
That's
being.
about.
I,
I could
um,
finish that out by Wednesday.
yeah, yeah, watch it. Please watch it.
Okay, yeah. No, tell you what. The moment the moment I stop this podcast, I'm gonna put it on, and then while I'm doing my quote unquote editing.
Let's see what other subjects I have. Something to talk about later on too. Just I put films going from reality to outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it examples. And the only reason why is because same thing. I felt the need to watch Jason Statham,
Ah,
one of my lovable
yeah.
British
I saw you
guys.
said you put Crank on there, and I was like, oh yeah. Uh,
Yeah,
Crank is. I wouldn't even say the first Crank is in any sense reality.
like it started off with
It
I
was
think with
just
that one.
speed, but instead of the car going 50 miles an hour, it was his heart.
Yeah, I mean essentially was what I meant by the reality was is that if you look at Crank, the first one and the second one.
Oh, Crank
Even though
2
they had the same concept,
is
it was
a
two different
drug
things.
trip.
Yeah, and so it, how do you say it? And it kind of goes into the films that show a little bit of history, a little bit of science based. Because at least with Crank 2, I I saw it before, but didn't understand, don't remember it. But then I went back and watched it again, and I caught how they try to explain that him falling from the sky, um, he could survive just like somebody survived before. You really had people who fell.
And
Um,
survived, yeah.
yeah, more than a mile and survived. My thing is like, okay, that's cool. You explain how he survived, or there's a possibility, but you didn't explain how he didn't break no bones. He just bounced off a car, and that was it. No bones broken, nothing. You tell me this Chinese serum they put in him that's supposed to kill him. What they do? We fix him up, and so that was the whole point of how far do we, how much do we entertain before we push ourselves from the table and go, all right, this is getting out of hand. Like Fast and Furious was the first one, very level based.
Yep.
It was
And then they're
cool.
jumping the moon by the last one.
I haven't even watched that one, but I heard that one. Like I was like, what? Jumping the moon?
I don't even know if it's the last one. I just remember seeing a car in space going towards the moon, and I was like, what the fuck is going on with this series, man?
Like at one point, and that's why I said if you guys want to talk about it more in length, we can. Because I think, and that's the reason why I put John Wick. Because I think Hunter mentioned that before, where John Wick started off with the first one being
Fairly
how it
grounded
was,
in
and then
reality, and then it just kind of goes to batshit insanity.
yeah, and so it's always trying to do the one ups and stuff like that.
Mm.
Let's see. Oh, the one that we talked about in general. How do you feel about You can give me your quick thoughts on is it better to not know the subject when you're watching a movie or a TV series or anime?
Depends. It really, really depends. Um, like there are certain things I think that the best way to experience them is by accident or by recommendation, where it's the person said, "Listen, don't look at anything, just click the play button."
Mhm.
And a really good example of that, actually two good examples of that. We spoke about it earlier. The Chris Chan, A Comprehensive documentary. That
Mhm.
one's a great one to go into without having any knowledge. In fact, I'm jealous that you don't have any knowledge of it, because it is. Oh man, But yeah, that's one that I'd recommend going into without any knowledge. And shit, what was it? Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Mhm.
I've The best way that I can say is if you want to see an interesting look into the human psyche through the eyes of a deranged Japanese man, watch Evangelion. But there's a certain order to watch it in. You
Mhm.
watch the entire TV series, which I think is 22 episodes, 23 episodes, somewhere around there. Um, and they ran out of money, so he had to kind of go with a rushed ending. And then he released the movie, The End of Evangelion, which is kind of like, well, what if that ending happened? However, that was actually just a psychopathic hallucination of one of the characters. Here's what's actually going on.
Mhm.
And then you get to the ending, and you're just like, what the what is going
Mhm.
on? This is insane. Um, I don't know where I'm going with that. And, oh yeah, that's one of the ones that's really good to like. If you don't know anything about Evangelion
Mhm.
and you want to see and you just want to have like a weird existential crisis, you hit me up, homie. I got a playlist for you.
Okay.
But that's
Hey,
another
I'll
one
tell you
that's
right
like
now.
it's great to go in blind.
Send it
Same.
to me, and I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna do like I did Reacher because I didn't. I got to 100. I didn't go to bed.
Oh,
Like I
that's fair.
literally, yeah, I was just stuck. The wife was kind of snoring,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe I had too many coffee. But I was like, watch one more.
Just do it.
Yeah, watch one more.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, it was like 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, oh crap.
Yep. All right. Look,
Okay.
I'm gonna pass you a USB stick one of these days. It's gonna have a playlist for you. We'll talk after that. Because if
Yeah,
you think Gantz is insane, you ain't seen shit, homie.
I think I'm not saying I got a. I gotta look at my animes. I think I do. The one you're talking about, what you call it, the
Evangelion.
Neo. Where I got an anime that sounds like that, but
Big
it's a
stompy
movie.
robots. There's a big purple and green robot.
Yes and no. I know the movie is. It starts off with a guy free falling in the sky. I think he has one wing. He attacks his airship. Some Earth girl gets this whole thing like she doesn't want to be there. She wants to die. She goes into this water. Next, you know, she winds up on this planet or whatever this place is, and then it's a mad race to find this armor that somehow she has ties to, but they're also trying to stop his brother from taking over the world or
I don't know what
whatever.
the fuck you're talking about, but it sounds so familiar. Is it Escaflowne?
It could be that. It starts with that. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Escaflowne.
Is it like the suit is a big like almost like a bone white robot, right? With a cape?
Yeah, because then at one point it transforms into a dragon or
Yes,
something
that's
at the end.
Escaflowne, dude. That show fucking rocks.
Oh, okay, okay,
Because
okay, okay.
it's like it's about like some high school chick who ends up falling through a she like falls through a rift or something, ends up in like diesel punk fantasy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, Escaflowne is great. Oh, man, I haven't watched
Okay.
that in a long time. I should go back and watch that one again.
Ooh. Oh man.
But yeah, unfortunately, I'm getting the text messages that I am needed.
Yeah, yeah. Because the other two, like I said, history and base. I would like to get you guys feedback on that one. Do
Oh yeah.
you?
Oh, like I said, that is a solid list. So that is something we could definitely come back for when we have a fully operational bleached asshole hunter on the show. Uh,
Our prayers goes out to Hunter and his beehole, in these terrible times we're having right now. Uh,
we
all we can
wish you
say
all
is
the best and Godspeed, my sweet summer
yes.
child.
Prayers up, beeholes down. Drink water.
All right, guys. For those three people watching, hi me. Sorry for it being a short episode. We wanted to get something out only because we didn't have anything for the last 2 weeks. and then we didn't do anything for 2 weeks before that. So we're trying to do this as a weekly podcast, but life is finding a way.
Nice quote, Jurassic Park.
Thank you. But yeah, so I'd say let's call it there, and we will hopefully catch you guys in 2 weeks, it seems.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Peace out.
All right, take it easy.